Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan.
Ooh, quick speed run.
How's it feel?
Personal best, PB.
Stop telling me to watch The White Lotus. I'm never going to watch it. I don't think it's a real show. I think if you turn it on, it'll just be static. Every time I ask somebody to explain the show to me, they go like, oh, well, no. It's like trying to explain a board game. They get lost in the minutiae. I'm not going to watch the show.
Start giving me the Black Lotus. It's a Magic the Gathering card, and if you have it, I want it, and give it to me.
I'm going to keep mine.
Okay.
But I appreciate your interest.
I saw like a season or two of White Lotus, and I cannot tell you a single thing about it.
It just seems like stunt casting the show, and then they hang out, and then you ask somebody what it's about, and they go like, there's this scene. And you're like, no,
some stuff goes down.
It's like when I'm telling people to watch Fargo. I know they're not going to because no one aside from me watches that fucking show. But it's the best show I've made.
You and I bonded over the last season of Fargo, which was so good.
I don't want to be mean. You, in terms of like media consumption, you aren't a human being. You are data. Anastasia Vigo is in the machine.
True. You're
jack
Siri
into
for the
media.
mainframe.
Dude, I've seen you put a big wire in the back of your head, come out and be like, have you watched Memento?
Uploading season 2 now.
Have you watched this esoteric French film from the 70s?
Yeah, why have you seen so many of those?
I
grow up.
Love the cinema.
You became like, who did you become?
I don't know. I'm Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay, cool.
He doesn't talk like that.
You sound like a different pervert.
I don't know. I like was raised by television. Television was my mommy, my daddy. And I like movies.
I was raised by television, but like I watched like the Real World Road Rules challenge.
It was more like a cool uncle.
Yeah, that wasn't like something that really like gave me, I feel like it prepared me for a career in watching reality television.
Which you are crushing, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
If we bundle in Jubilee, same for
Love
me.
is Blind season 8 is happening right now. It's good. Actually, it's not good.
Huh.
It's like good for a while. And then they did a thing where they like got more people on the show so that they could have a better hit rate for relationships. Oh. And all of the relationships right now seem like they're going too well. And they spent way longer in the pods because I think all the drama was in the pods.
Dude, it feels like that's the martial art of being a reality TV show producer is you can find a way to get the drama out, like get them drunk.
It's not a reality TV show. It's an experiment. It's actually a social experiment, and it's there's a control group.
That social experiment has had more like rigor than any medication. Like the number of times they've tested that theory out. And I would go so far as to say the answer is no.
I would say the answer is no, yes.
Maybe if they get married and then run their entire relationship without seeing each other, then yes.
Oh, yeah.
I would say love is blind. But then if you get married afterwards, it's not.
It's not, because then you have to deal with the physical form of your partner, which you previously did not have to deal with.
I guess you can, if the answer is, can I be in love if I don't see? Yes. But I don't think we needed that theory.
But if you can't see, that doesn't mean that you can't touch, feel, or physically appreciate the presence of a partner. Whereas Love is Blind is like, can you date your FaceTime? No. Can you date the phone? It's like basically phone dating.
It's literally e-dating, but for a shorter.
I'm talking to a wall. Well, when you're talking to a phone, you're not fucking talking to anything. I'll talk towards a wall all the time when I'm on the phone.
It's just a long distance relationship for a bit. For really not as long as a typical long distance relationship. Yeah. Better signal.
It's like most of the it's like can you meet someone on a chat room and start a long distance relationship where you eventually meet?
Is it like it's kind of it's one of those shows that sort of has like a self-selecting weird people thing because anyone that would sign up is a little on the peculiar.
You know, I feel like this season a lot of people are like, in terms of like the normal range, the normal spectrum, and then you can get like standard deviations away from normal. Like in the first episode, there was a couple of people who they bonded over talking about alien theories and Joe Rogan. And I was like, oh, is this about to be crazy? And then that kind of doesn't go anywhere. And I was so ready to have the like QAnon couple be a part of it.
Which is where most of those relationships go. Like, a lot of normies are into those two things, but not enough to be interesting. Because most lives, you don't have to go anywhere with it. If we say like, hey, I actually like believe in aliens and I think Pizzagate was real. Well, now that's tied to my job as opposed to just saying it out loud and then going back and not talking about it.
Love is Blind is perfect for those conspiracy theories because you, by virtue of it, cannot look anything up. There's no fact checking. You spend, how many ever, like a month in the pods. And
it's like historical mythology.
Yeah,
like, of course they believed it.
You're not allowed to use, I guess. So I was following someone from the show, and they did a Q&A this morning, and they were talking about how after they basically they live at a hotel, and then they get picked up by a van, and then like the van takes them, or a bus or whatever takes them to set, and then they're on set all day, and then they go back, and then when they get back to their hotel, they're so exhausted that usually they'll just like go to bed. But I feel like the only way to fight fake news in a Love is Blind pod is to bring like the Encyclopedia Britannica like to your hotel room and go look up facts at night.
Did I misremember this, or is the show just presented in an ambiguous way? I was under the impression that they lived on the complex. Is that how the show presents?
Well, they
it?
live in like, so the pods are like a set basically. They're like storage containers.
Yeah, but I was always under the impression that like that was adjacent to a bunch of bedrooms.
That was
they have that kitchen
wasn't
they
that the
hang out
first
in.
season?
Oh,
Because
you're
there was that
thinking of-
lawsuit the first season where they were living in shipping containers.
I mean, I could be wrong.
Like,
But-
or at least that were like dormitory
They
style.
work, yeah, that could be a thing. They like the pods are in shipping containers, I think. But then there's also the phase after. Normally the pod section doesn't last for very long, and then they move into, then they go to like a resort for a while, and it's like their kind of not honeymoon. It's like their post-engagement period.
It's their ruining the experiment section.
Right, where they find out that love is not truly blind.
Yeah, it's like they're doing like the Stanford prison experiment, and then someone runs in and goes, "We should kill the prisoners."
Yeah,
Like,
and he's like, "You're
ruined it."
messing it all up." But then they go to in the first couple seasons that I watched. Usually they would go to like some neutral apartment that was like paid for by production. It seemed like.
Oh, that's right, with gold cups and all that.
And then they would like. But then I think in more recent seasons they've just been choosing to live at someone's house. But then not everyone is like, in some of the earlier seasons, not everyone was local to the town. Because
yeah, that's right. Because they used
I
to
think
go
they
to
had
their
introduced
houses.
like a long distance relationship by accident in one of those seasons. But now it seems like everyone is in the same city. But that's weird because it's such a tricky thing because you want the relationships to be able to work, which is more practical than most reality shows because people are from all over the world, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess I found true love. I have to like move my life because I was on The Bachelor."
The only thing we've learned is that like we do really connect when we're playing a game where we have to like pass a glass ball around or
that's true.
jump through a bunch of tires. Oh, you live in Singapore? Oh no.
But yeah, so they're doing I don't know how I feel about this. They're doing the drop of a chunk of episodes every couple weeks or something, or I don't know what the cadence is, but they'll drop 3 episodes or 4 episodes at a time.
I think the next chunk comes out this Friday.
And I'll be there. So I think it is weekly then.
All this damn money going
I don't know how
around.
many chunks there are total.
It could be going to Love on the Spectrum another season, but it won't.
yeah.
It takes a million fucking years. Give me that show. Give me the Australian one again.
I kind of want to get back into Too Hot to Handle because my favorite conceit is when they're like, we find the most sex addicted people in the world and we tell them they're on fuck island where everyone's fucking all the time, and then everyone like gets really horny, and like the first night they're all like, I'm ready to fuck, are you ready to fuck? And it's like, it's gonna be a party,
what a show.
let's be fucking always. And then they're like, here's a Alexa, and
no
it's gonna
fucking
tell
allowed.
you that actually there's no fucking, and
Psych.
everyone's like, what?
Huh?
It's like 3911.
But you said that it was. It is I mean, at this point, no matter what it is that I'm into, if I'm getting handed like a sign up release for a show called Having Sex Definitely Island or whatever they're tricking me with, I'm like, well, it's probably the more popular show where you can't have sex.
Right. Yeah, we've got this show. Like, I feel like you can't. I'm curious because they either have to have like a third party casting company, or because if I'm talking to someone where I know their name, legally,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going straight to LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to reverse search. I'm starting to back channel, try to figure
So
out.
it's like 2017 to 2025, liar at Netflix.
But there's so many problems with just dating shows in general. But the funniest thing is that Love Is Blind has been going on now for like many, many years, and they still open with the premise of like app dating. It's just not gonna work. But you know what is? This weird reality show.
I mean, it's all like silently kind of trad, because same thing happens like whenever you watch like a Santa movie or something you grew up watching, and you watch it back and you're like, oh, this is about Christianity. I guess I didn't notice.
I'll give it more credit because it does seem like they're trying to make these relationships work, the ones that do. But we'll see where the season goes. But I feel like it's at the cost of less interesting television.
And I don't know, like I think the more sinister part of it, not to say I won't watch it, not to say I don't want it to exist, it's funny, but the kind of sinister element is this silent American dream pitch of like, well, love is when you stay together forever.
Yeah.
You can't have loved. If you break up on your deathbed, you actually weren't in love with that woman
failed.
for 60 years.
For me, it's contextually where some of these shows like lie in relationship to one another, because The Bachelor and Bachelorette is the show that's like lying to itself the most, because it's like, all right, we found this like 23-year-old and she's going to get married. And it's like, should she?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Relax.
Like, it's like, and then they're surprised, and then they treat it as this like celebration of traditional values, because it's like, a lot of like middle America like watches the show, but it's like they're setting themselves up for disappointment, because given that environment, it's just not like for this world.
I would say that a scenario where you can lose objectively on a show that's being televised is probably a less reliable experiment, but it's not an experiment. That one's actually science.
Yeah.
That one's guaranteed to fall in love. On what? How many people do they get in? Like 20?
On Bachelor?
Yeah.
I think it's like starts with 30 as like but then they drop like flies.
It's kind of a funny thing to be otherwise traditional relationship stuff. Same way they did courting in the 1500s. We have bought through a collection of the world's nobility to marry my daughter.
It's really funny to go through the traditional like jealousy stuff.
For a guy you don't even fucking know.
No, because like you know, like there's like the trad thing where it's like, I don't even want my husband to look at another woman or something like that. And but you have to cope with the fact that, well, the weird thing about The Bachelor is that, well, one, they're dating a million people at once, and then they also, for whatever reason, kind of like how Love Is Blind refers to itself as an experiment, The Bachelor, they'll be like girlfriend, boyfriend, and they'll say that like, I have 15 girlfriends. And I'm like, what is going on?
I don't know, man. I mean, me personally, I just want to marry Harry. That's my
that actually was the perfect show. I think we found it in 2008 or whenever that show came out.
I don't think there's anyone else with as much cultural cachet, but that people don't completely know what they look like as the Royals.
Talking about like how shows lie to people, they brought back the Joe Schmo show, and I haven't watched it, but that's the show where they like lied to a guy, where basically it's like Truman Show, where everyone is an actor except for this one dude.
Oh my god!
And he thinks he's on a reality show, and
God, that's like Japanese reality television lack of ethics.
Yeah, where it's like there's a video essay like 20 years later about how it like ruined a man's life or something.
Oh, dude, I think it's just over, isn't it? I think if that happens to me, watching The Truman Show at age 10 was traumatic enough.
Mm-hmm.
And now, to this day, if I see like a kind of a speck on the wall, I'm like, is there a camera? No, it's a speck on the wall. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
The Truman Show is
For it
like
to happen?
The Truman Show couldn't happen today because the second that there's like a ad placement in your life,
What are you doing?
you're like, wait a second, why is Anastasia sponsored by Spanx?
Yeah. Anastasia, why did you bring so many Tide Pods today? Is it a challenge?
Today's episode is kidding.
Oh, well,
I do
that's-
have an update on the sleeping arrangements for Love Is Blind
Alright.
from Refinery 29. It says,
When is this dated?
well, this is from season 1.
Oh, season 1. Okay.
It says Kenny Barnes of season 1 says, we slept in trailers and they were correctional facility beds. That might be his
Like a
color,
bad bed.
but it's like a cot.
Yeah.
The design was to just strip us down from our comfort level.
Oh, interesting.
The first 4 days we filmed on average, I'd say 18 to 20 hours.
Jesus Christ. Wait, on average, like, okay, I want to believe this person.
And we are rightly skeptical of
Filming for 20
networks.
hours for a month is like, I'm like, you can't only give people 4 hours of sleep for a month. That feels like a crime.
That's
Like, I know they've dealt with lawsuits, but
they
like, that
initially
feels so
record with
extreme.
2,000 people, and the 30 that survive get to be on the show.
As of this season, I at least know based on this person who answered this question that they were in hotels.
Do they don't show them in the hotel?
No.
That's okay,
It's like
okay.
that would break the like the idea is that I think people want you to believe that they're either in this common area or in the pods.
Yes.
And they are in the pods for like most of the days.
18 to 20
And then
hours.
the production decides their schedules.
Man, I mean, look, I want to say, why would you need that many hours in the pod? And then I remembered that most people are very boring.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get anything worth editing in, you have to wait for the first 16 hours. So they go like, yeah, no, I've been to Buffalo. What do you think? It was nice.
One thing I don't understand, and we don't have to talk about this anymore. But one thing I don't understand is that in that Q&A, they were like, the dates start at 10 minutes, but at the end can go up to 4.5 hours.
It was
And
in their
so I'm-
initial little check-ins.
And so I'm like, I'm not sure how that works. Like, is it like I want to, like you hit the snooze button to keep a date going, or like how does that work? I don't know.
Oh, as in they go in and they're like, all right, every date's 10 minutes. They go like, oh, but I'm really liking it.
It feels like a Mr. Beast video where when you start thinking about the logistics for too long, you realize that they had to cut all of the explanation out in order to like keep the pace going.
Especially Beast games where they keep realizing they've miscalculated how many people would be eliminated in a round. And then they're like, okay, $5 to whoever goes home right now.
I had considered
Flip this coin.
I had considered making a video about Beast games, but I stopped caring to watch it, which is kind of interesting.
It's, when you're like a little kid and you watch a cartoon that gets like canceled a season later or something, or a movie that's like later considered to be kind of shitty, and you just think it's bad at the time. Like you're watching it, you don't have an ear or lens for media. You couldn't say why it's bad, but you're a kid and you're just watching it like, I don't like this. Like something's missing. This is hollow. Then you grow up,
It's
maybe
like
rewatch
Uncanny
it.
Valley or something.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you grow up, rewatch it, and you go like, oh, this is bad because of these things.
Mm-hmm.
That is a little bit how Beast Games is, but I can only imagine being a kid that loves Mr. Beast and then watching that and being like, I like him. I think I'm supposed to like this show. But then you watch it and I cannot imagine a kid sitting through that show. It is so understimulating. There's these huge gaps between the games.
Well, the Bright Side Lil Yachty's in an episode, so that was cool. It's like, what is he
That
doing
was so
there?
funny. It seems like he lived on that island and he just turns up.
There's like
they can't get rid of him.
It's also funny because it's like feels so unplanned that like there's. I think maybe I've said this before, where when he speaks, you can tell that it's heavily edited because they we need to include him because we made this whole rigmarole, we made this whole show of him being there, and then like didn't give him anything to do or say. So every time he's in the background, I crack up. Like 'cause it's just like
He's
at the
out
side of his head, yeah, like
too far
blurry.
away.
Yeah.
And then he's right in front of the camera and it's like trying to get around him. And then a shot of like him reacting, but it's clearly different sunlight. It's been so long because that's when he went.
Jordan,
Hello.
did you know that 85% of people have at least one unused subscription that they're paying for every single month?
That really does feel like how they get you, right?
It is how they get you.
That's the trick.
But thanks to Rocket Money, they can identify those unwanted subscriptions and cancel them, and you're living easy. You're living breezy. You're saving cash, and you're looking dashing.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you identify those annoying unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, lower your bills, so you can grow your savings.
You can easily create a personalized budget with custom categories so you can keep your spending on track, and then you can view your spending by month across each of those categories that you set up and keep tabs on where your money's going.
And the new goals feature automatically saves money for you, so you can pay off that cheeky credit card, make a big, large, lovely purchase, or just grow those savings to feel a little safer.
So here's a few numbers about Rocket Money. Rocket Money, 5 million users. Saving those users $500 million. And that's about $740 per year per user when using all their premium features.
Just didn't cancel subscriptions. How could that even be the case?
Cancel those unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Head on over to rocketmoney.com/sadboys today.
Rocketmoney.com/sadboys. Rocketmoney.com/sadboys.
Rocketmoney.com/sadboys. How you doing, bud?
I'm all right. I was in the Uber this morning and I had all these weird, I think I took my meds late or something, but I had all these weird spirally thoughts, which usually I don't.
That's like a me thing.
Fall into, or what I guess I should say, I constantly fall into it. But as the day kind of goes on, I get the more things I see that remind me of like my little comforts, or
right,
how much better things are, and like then it like simmers, right?
Right.
But I realized like, well, why am I having these again? What's going on? Why are they, or not again? Again, I think I do myself a disservice on the show of how incredibly severely depressed I am. But I am also very appreciative of the conditional things. It's very up and down, right?
Sure.
There is this. I had this this moment. I'm like, what? Something's different. What is going on? Why am I being introspective about stuff that doesn't matter? Why am I listening to this? And then I went like, well, I don't have my headphones. I just didn't have my AirPods, and I realized that it was not that I don't think while I have AirPods in, but it's almost like when the plate stops spinning of actually thinking about something that has forward momentum.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what am I doing today? And then what's going on after Sad Boys and blah, 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 blah. I had breakfast, still a little hungry, but as soon as I got to the end of that and I started going like, oh, Yellow Door. That reminds me of this Yellow Door I used to see in the, oh God, I hated it. I bet everyone hated me. Like the spiral.
It's like you don't
That's when I listened to the podcast again.
You don't have something to grab on to prevent the tide from washing you away.
I wasn't even like paying attention to this American life.
Right.
But then as soon as I wasn't paying attention to anything, I like jack back in and they're like, and that's why sewers actually can be pretty fun.
Glass. I remember the glass.
The glass of where they would look at
The glass where they would look at me when I was in the institute. And Professor X was there.
But I know we're both desperately wanting to reduce the silence, no time with our own thoughts kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But we were just talking about screen maxing. We were just talking about sticking something.
You know what's
on
funny?
the
When I don't have my headphones, and I wish like my therapist many a time has described this thing that people do where they like, I don't know, like don't have stimulus and are in the moment and taking it all in and grounding themselves, and I don't get it. But the
being mental.
Yeah. But for me, I can't stop like stimming when I'm in that. Like I'll start like singing a song to myself or something, or humming or whistling or tapping my toes or doing it's like I want to just be at ease when there's nothing, but easier, old habits die hard.
I think the fidgeting is one of those things that I think gets a lot of the time, like we didn't get any ADHD diagnosis until many, many, many years. Like we're both in like our mid-20s when we were.
Yeah.
But I remember part of the skepticism whenever it even came up as a topic when I was a kid was that, well, it's like fidgety, right? It's fidgeting.
Oh, right.
And
like
I was not like a active hyperactive
hyperactivity.
kid. It was the small scale fidgeting. It is those little, it's less that, well, they just naturally kind of fidget. Instead, they're so understimulated that all they can do is, because they're sat in their chair, they're going
like
insane.
something. Yeah.
If I am like these days,
like I
more
can't seem to,
comfortable.
I'm like going Jordan mode. I keep like needing to change my, you've never taken this position.
How's he doing it? That's incredible.
The leg keeps falling asleep.
There is something about, the sitting in particular, you were a good student, I was a terrible student. It's part of our parallel game that we play. We're cool. I'm fucking like jacked. I'm sick. You suck.
I rolled high on school for some reason.
I rolled high on cool.
Oh shit!
Psych. I was a loser also.
You were too cool for school.
But I was bad at school and a nerd. That hardly seems fair.
How do you square that? Yeah.
I was just, I guess I was like good at lore. I was very good at learning Naruto lore despite not having watched the show. I was a bad student, but I do sometimes wonder, like, if I get rid of the not being able to sit still thing, is that the blocker? Part of it's the attention and so, and like not understanding the incentives and why how it can be compelling.
Sure. Like
not hyperfocus, that just didn't happen. But then another part of it's like, I just wasn't distracted by how I was sitting. Would I have just listened to the class more? If I was like a little less frustrated with the fact that it's like we're losing sunlight while I sit indoors, would I have actually enjoyed. So I loved my
Oh,
science
dude.
class.
In college, the only way I could pay attention, I would sit in the front row. And it wasn't because I was a nerd. It was because I would fuck off on my laptop if I wasn't sitting in the
You
front row.
needed to be caught.
Yeah.
That's actually sharp, dude.
Yeah.
I never
Well,
thought
it's like
about that.
putting up like, you know, when you bowl with the guardrails up,
Yeah.
that's like, I felt like I needed to create my life that way. Like, for example, I knew I would never study for like job interviews because like back in my day, you would do like whiteboard coding and stuff. And I knew I would never practice that stuff. So I just like became a teaching assistant for the class where like you constantly have to do that. So I would have to like teach a class
something
to
to
do
do.
it constantly. So it was always fresh in my mind. So I remember when I was like interviewing at Microsoft and like they were like, can you implement a hash table? And I was like, do that shit every week. Like, let me just fucking pop. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh, watch me, dog.
I'm like, this guy's so cool.
Why I said it like that.
Yeah, that's why you didn't get hired, I believe.
No,
Right?
dude, they gave me a job offer on the spot, and I was like, I don't want to work at Microsoft. What I interview for this for?
I have a micro that's always soft.
Can I?
Oh,
Can
grow up.
Oh, wait. What did you mean? Can you explain?
I was just divulging a little bit about myself, and I'm in trouble now.
Can I ask a question? When you are learning something now, like when you need to learn something, what conditions do you prefer now that you wish you had been able to have in school when you were a kid? Like, for example, I have a friend who's like, I just am better at learning at night.
Oh, I think for me, if I can create a quick feedback cycle on something, then it keeps me engaged. So games naturally have that built in, which is why a lot of people with ADHD like gaming, because there is
This is smarter.
there's like there's tight loops of challenge, dopamine, reward and stuff.
Slow progress, but with quick.
Yeah,
reward.
and so whereas like the slow burn or the delayed gratification of learning is like very tough. But with like programming, for example, I could test things out pretty quickly. Like I could try to run a program and then it would fail, and then I would have a problem to solve, and then I would solve the problem, and then kind of that loop could keep me engaged. So trying to make sure and that loop exists for YouTube videos. Like I edit something, I watch it back, I go, no, that's not right. And then I, can do that. So like anytime that loop exists, and creating that in whatever ways that I can, kind of turning it into a game in a way, but I think that oversimplifies it. It's really about those like feedback loops, is like what I need. And certain things, like I was always bad at chemistry, not because I didn't think I had the mental ability, but because I would just be cramming at the last minute always. And like some of those concepts are hard to cram for.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it communicated to you that school was important?
no, it was not until I had to like learn myself, because I was always like, when I was younger, I was like effortlessly good at school because I had no, I wasn't like a sentient. I don't think of like my youth as like being sentient even.
Yeah, sure.
Like
That's a role. That's
I was just doing
role,
stuff, and so like that stuff like quite literally just came to me naturally. But I also lucked out because it's like I've talked about this I think before, but like in elementary school, I didn't do homework ever. I think that everyone just looked the other way. Like my desk was like full of papers that I didn't take home to do, and people just like look the other way. And then
we never had desks. That would have been a perfect solution. Shit.
And like, cause this was in elementary where you had like the same class. Like I remember, I think it was maybe my homeroom where I had a desk that was like full of my shit.
Oh, that's
that was like full of school related shit. It was like, desktop, and then under it, there was like a little cavern for your stuff. But then in middle school, it was like more challenging. I still didn't do anything. But it eventually caught up to me because I remember I like failed my Algebra 1 class because I just didn't turn any of the work for it. And that was like a wake up call. And then I learned the lesson of I just need to turn something in. And then that just fixed the problem. Oh no, but then when I in like high school and kind of a little bit middle school, I was starting to, because I was in like these like magnet programs. I was and I was like a quote unquote gifted kid. People know that thing in America. It's like a whole thing. I had like secondhand knowledge about the importance of school from my friends' parents. Because for me, no one had any expectations of me in my home. I was already like beyond, like I was already achieving beyond expectation or whatever. And like I have the one, I think it's around here somewhere. My mom, before she passed, had printed out this like or had laminated this like newspaper clipping of when I was like the student of the year in elementary school. Oh yeah, it's right there. Anastasia I haven't taken it out of the shrink wrap, but it's like I just framed it because it's like one of the last like things that my mom did for me. She put this on like the fridge, and somehow, some way, this like I don't know how this got back to me. I think when I got a box of stuff from storage, like it like somehow wasn't bent, ripped, or whatever. And so I was like, that's a sign. So I like got it framed. But it's like reception honors outstanding young citizens. And it's like, I didn't do shit, but I was nice and I got good grades.
And it's all relative.
This
episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
2025 is going to be the big year. It's the big one, the year where you take your side hustle to the next level. And thanks to Squarespace and the tools that their service provides, you can go from an idea to a complete website in just an hour.
We use Squarespace for the Sad Boys website, and if we can do that, so can you. And their new design intelligence tools make it easy to create and maintain your online shop or dream website.
Whether it's just creating that site or creating a shop to sell products and services, Squarespace has the templates and tools to make that a breeze. With their new Fluid Engine editor, you can upload, customize your site to your heart's content, and boom, you're live, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
And when you're opening a shop on Squarespace, make use of their integrated payment system so that you can give all your customers those simple, intuitive payment systems that they're used to using instead of making them type in their information independently every time.
And if you need a starting point, Squarespace has stunning professional templates with drag and drop editing that make design ever so easy. In fact, some would say, myself included, that there's no coding required. So you don't need to get a computer science degree like myself. You don't need to be a software engineer like I once was. You can just do it. It being creating a beautiful website.
Making the website, yeah. So start building your dream website with a free trial at squarespace.com/sadboys.
And when you're ready to launch your site, use code SADBOYS, that's us, to get 10% off your first purchase. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode.
I have a similar story to Jarvis's in the fact that like I was in gifted programs and stuff, and I was like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do to get? I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
But it just makes me think, if you have adults, teachers specifically, who believe in you, that is more than anything else. Like, that works like better than anything else to like better your education.
Like, there's a lot of studies that a lot of these outcomes, like it's what is it? It's a prophecy, self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because like it doesn't matter. Like in many cases, it like just matters the attention that students are getting with teachers and like how much care is being taken. And that can directly, in many cases, affect their outcomes. And so I lucked into getting that attention and care and belief in my potential. Like it had this kind of multiplicative impact and compounding impact on like my outcomes. Because it was like, oh, in elementary school, I was just vibing and just doing whatever. And then I was in like a gifted class, and then like these, I think I've mentioned this before, these two Scottish women were like the gifted math teachers. And then they told me to apply to this middle school. And then I had to like write an essay to get into the magnet program there. And then I got into that, and that's where I met Russell. And then like I had.
Do you know what magnet means, by the way?
With an E, right? at the
Yeah,
Magnet.
so magnet school or
I'm
magnet
from Britain, not
programs.
space.
No, I just mean
So-
it's a very specific American school
So
system.
because
thing.
of like zoning, so like I was zoned for different schools after. Well, I was zoned for like a different middle school, but because I was in this program, they would just like bus me to the thing, and
but it's like you get to go to a better school than what you're zoned for.
Yeah.
I mean, we had one that you can test in. I was one of the only kids that didn't. I think I hated school. Like a lot of people talk about like not liking or not enjoying it, but whatever. I think I had a very active hate for it. Like I vividly remember always feeling like I was being lied to. Like I was surrounded by people telling me that we had to wear this uniform, by people telling me that we had to go to these classes. But I just felt like I was being lied to, and I get very angry. I had like a lot of anger issues, and I'd fucking freak out, and I'd throw shit, and I was pissed off because it wasn't the like, I don't think something good could happen here. Stop lying to me. Stop telling me this matters. I know it doesn't.
Yeah.
It may at some point, but I'm like, we're 9 years old. Stop lying to me.
Yeah.
And a big part of it was what my mom was like, not that like active about it, but she was actively just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Because she was a high school, college era dropout and became like, her success came through literally one of the only rise and grind people who ever actually exist. And so I was just like, and this was her great gift, is that she was always emphasizing that I was inherently valuable, even if I was like bad at X or bad at Y or disapproved by this person, disapproved by whatever. And I came to hate it and have an active hate for what it does to people in general. It's definitely worth acknowledging that there are so many differences between the two schooling systems. I'm not informed on it enough to draw all of them, but there is historically like a culture here that, first of all, you have so much fiction about it. You have so much fiction about high school here. You have so much stories about school. That is not the case in the UK. The school is just this little obligation on the side. Like if you have a ton of coming of age movies about taxes, it just doesn't make it's weird, right?
Yeah.
But now I look back and I'm like, I can see a world where I would enjoy something like this, but I just never ever was able to. Nobody could ever pitch me on, well, here's how this thing could be compelling versus skipping class.
Right.
It sounds silly, but literally every single time someone would try and present something to me, even in a class I enjoyed, I was like, yeah, but I want to skip class more.
Yeah.
And then I went to maybe 1/3 of the number of classes I was supposed to go to.
You know, my older brother and sister got bad grades in school. My brother,
What are they, stupid? They're stupid idiots.
well, the school would have you believe yes. Like my brother always had a hard time in school, never got good grades, like was constantly not turning in work and stuff. My sister like never showed up. She would just ditch
She's
all the time.
Yeah.
And I was always in like, I pretty much had Jarvis's same trajectory, like had people always saying like, oh, you should apply to this special high school and blah, blah, blah. And I know for a fact, my brother and sister are way smarter than me, just because I know them really well. And my sister's a biomedical engineer. She is like, you think I'm random facts? Meet my sister. It's like it's like science facts plus pop culture facts.
Too
plus,
powerful.
It's insane.
I mean, we make fun of it when you do have a random anecdote, but you're like the things you know or are aware of just come from like you have like a wealth of experiences.
I was going to say,
lived a
you're
very
like one of the more
rich
well-rounded people I know.
Not rich in a fact. You're fucking broke, dude. You're
I got
broke ass.
stacks. What are you talking about?
No,
I'm
broke
just
ass.
kidding.
You got stacks of knowledge.
But genuinely, you've just lived a very full life with a lot of like new experiences and experimentation, and that's where that comes from. But it's certainly not just trivia. But I do enjoy your. You have such a wealth of anecdotes, such an admirable life that sometimes it's just funny when you go like, Oh yeah, that's so funny. That reminds me of when I was in space.
Yeah. And I was like, these Mars rocks, I think there might have been water on this planet.
Hey, can I have that? Yeah, here you go.
I built a robot and I had the robot take the rocks back to NASA.
And I left it
And
there.
I was like, oh, this is nice, but I want to go appreciate art history in the museum. So you guys have fun with your little space rocks.
I'm going into 9th grade this year, so I'd better head off.
I do think that there's something like inherent in my family, because both of my parents have this as well, where it is like a genuine interest in the world and life in general. I've had like so many hyperfixations where I'm like, I need to know everything about this serial killer.
Right.
I need to know everything about...
So that I can learn how to emulate them. Yeah.
I'm a hyper-focused copycat of different killers.
I first
know
learn
something
so
at
that I
random.
can do.
You know, it's very funny is to think of like a detective as hyper-focused.
Yeah.
For drawing the strings and stuff, is just like, I'm sorry, it's just my like,
Oh my God. I was in my flow state.
dude, I'm cluemaxing.
Yeah.
Feeling taking
I'm
photos.
hunchback. Go ahead.
No, but it's just like
Detective.
you have a question in your head and you're like, I need to find the answers to this.
Mhm.
And it like when I think I told you guys probably off pod that me and my sister and brother, we had a set of encyclopedias like from the 70s. They were so old. But we would just like randomly go to a letter and read everything in that letter.
That's some nerd shit for sure.
Learning is fun.
Learning is fun. But I think I don't even know if I believed that until I was learning things that I found interesting or
Well, that's
valuable.
ironically something that you have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn the methods and enjoyment of
Well, and
learning.
I think school does a bad job
I agree.
of making
Yeah.
learning fun.
Well,
They
I felt like
horrible.
they were the worst ones to tell me.
Yes.
So it was like, let's go to. Also, you probably experienced this, both you a little bit. Jacob, I imagine too. I was slightly validated in my over exaggerated rivalry. Like I was shadowboxing a little bit. Like the school is like, yeah, man, but I'm working like 90 hours a week for $10,000 a year. And I'm just like, you're a scum, as opposed to like the system holds people back.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little overzealous in it. But at the time, I just felt like I was kind of being proved right by growing up just when the internet was kind of hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gotta be like, well, I actually don't think this thing's right. And I can prove it. I don't. So that was the mindset of like, well, school isn't going to be around in like 10 years because of Wikipedia. I genuinely believed that. So I was just like, no, I'm not going to go to class.
I think that kind of circling back, I benefited a lot from the fact that people told me that I had potential. And then I began to believe that. And, I didn't develop the best relationship with that because I'm still very critical of myself, but I know, that I'm also capable of I'm capable of doing stuff. And so I think that gave me, and then that combined with the fact that the people that I was surrounded with, I wanted to hang, and like a lot of the people I was surrounded with were very like smart or very like academically minded. And so even though I didn't see myself that way, I didn't want to like embarrass myself. I wanted to like be able to hang.
This is so funny.
So it felt like more like a game and like a keeping up with the Joneses.
It's so funny. Like people, we joke about it and stuff. And we're like, look at us with the same person. But we are in a lot of ways. Like, we do share like an abnormal. We don't even talk about it in the show. We do just have like an abnormal number of similarities.
Yeah.
Despite being from very, very far away from one another.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think this is an interesting one where like we are very different in this, but I think for all of the same reasons. I hung out with bad students. All of my friends are bad students. I didn't want to embarrass myself by trying. And also, I liked hanging out with them, and they weren't going to class.
Yeah.
They were like trying to make me smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
That was more fun.
The people that I was hanging out with were the people who shared my interests and weren't like, for example, my friend Russell, he was never like a big nerd. He's just like one of the smartest people I know, and just kind of like for math, like he's extremely like I'm average to mid at math, but like compared to the average person, like I'm good at quote unquote good at math. But like Russell was like, he was taking like high school math when we were in middle school. He was taking like college math when we were in high school.
Patreon.com/sadboys for an episode we did with Russell like a
while ago. Yeah. And so I was always, but he was just like had genuine curiosity and was just vibing.
Mm-hmm.
And like we would skip school. We skipped the PSAT to play Mario Kart. Or we played Mario Party and ordered pizza at his house. And like, that was that when we were in high school, we were like, yeah, that was the best day ever.
Dude, fucking rules.
And so it was just like, one of those things where I just shared, like Russell and I shared a ton of, we like learned to code together. We like made YouTube videos together and, we learned to screen print t-shirts. We like started a podcast when we were 14. So we would like do all of these, like learn to solve Rubik's cubes together. So it would just be like this thing of
great montage.
Yeah.
I could you guys running along and typing in a glade.
Yeah, literally we were like on a Skype call at like 16 trying to learn C++ and going, what the fuck is this? Horrible first language to try and learn, by the way, if you do not know how to program.
Stepping out of a dressing room with a completed Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
And he's like this.
And so I think that there was that thing where it was like, oh, well, Russell gets good grades, so I should probably get good grades. And then his parents are like, you know, he was going and visiting colleges and Carnegie Mellon's like at the time, and probably still, but like the best. Jacob, look up top schools for computer science, top universities for computer science.
Chills video.
Yeah, so Carnegie Mellon's still number one here. And so I wanted to get into CMU. Russell went to CMU. I wanted to get into CMU. I got like waitlisted or something. And but then scroll down.
They were like, oh, yeah, I think it's
keep
full.
scrolling, I think past the ad. Oh, look at that. Number 7. So I went to Georgia Tech, which is number 7. And like, but I thought I was a failure. You know what I mean? Like, which is such an interesting way to think about it. It was like a consolation prize.
Oh yeah,
even though it actually ended up being amazing for both of us to have gone to different things, meet new people. I like came into my own because I always felt like I wasn't in his shadow, but I was kind of like, he was like my safe space. So I was like kind of hiding behind him in a lot of ways. And so this allowed me to come into my own. And then like, I actually like loved tech, Georgia Tech, and like that ended up being super good. But there was this whole like, it wasn't competition, but it was like wanting to feel like I was able to hang with the people that I liked.
Yeah,
I do think
reading encyclopedia,
peer influence is
your network is your net worth, baby.
No,
Rise and grind.
Your haters become your waiters.
But
which is bad.
If it rhymes, it must be true.
I majored in linguistics in undergrad, and like your language from your parents is like, yeah, that's influential in like the first few years, but the bigger influence is your peers.
Yeah.
And that's true for most of childhood. Like your parents, it's like, yeah, whatever, but you're trying to leave the nest.
Yeah, you're drifting towards that being bad.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
now actively not good.
So over time, your parents become less influential and your peers become more influential. And so sadly, all of those after school specials are correct.
I think I also,
you should smoke cigarettes.
I think I like to surround myself with people who I admire for whatever reason. Even my friends, I think it's like, it's not like I'm an admirer, but I think they have qualities that I think are like cool, and I not look up to them, but like I'm like I want to be closer to that. So it's like, you know, Jordan, I feel like I was gravitated towards you because I admired your charisma and like how funny you were and like how intelligent I think you are, and even though you'll disagree with me, but whatever. Or like Anastasia, like I thought you were my, like, in my mind, okay, no offense to anyone else, but like you were like the funniest person in our improv class. So I was like, oh, I want to be closer to this person.
Bad class.
Suck it, rest of the class.
And
that was not on the top 20 on that list, unfortunately. That class. I do think Anastasia is like a uniquely compelling person. I mean, like everyone likes you. I'm sure there's maybe people in your life that don't, but I just, amongst our extended friend group, I do think part of it is just, it's like affable and friendliness, but I think there is just also like a sincere curiosity. Encyclopedia reading, I guess, is a version of that. But I mean, like, if I could send a message back to the younger version of the two of us and maybe yourself and basically just everyone under the age of like 25, is that everyone likes genuine curiosity and like
charisma,
just
interest,
soft, real charisma. Everyone, like the Uncanny Valley, you can tell performance. Not just lies, but exaggeration. If you say you've seen a movie that you haven't, even if they don't think you're lying, the part of them knows. Like
enthusiasm
it
is like, when you're young, I think enthusiasm can be something that is looked down upon.
I actually don't care about anything.
Yeah, because that's what's cool.
You can't hurt me because I have no weak spots.
It's so, I mean, first of all, you guys are being so nice, and I feel like...
I was kidding. Jacob's coming over to high five.
Jacob
high fives us too. Jacob leaps over the computer to like just give us a flying high five.
End of season.
I did not know I was gonna be
on the spot,
hyped up today, but so thank you guys. But I want to say to listeners, I thought I was the most annoying, loudest, stupidest, ugliest. Like, I thought I was the worst.
Just because of that text I sent you.
I feel
I already
you
said,
send me every single morning when I wake up.
and then I say sorry an hour later.
I feel
day.
the same way. Like, I thought so. Like, I didn't contextualize very well, and so, like Russell, for example, I always use him because just like from like middle and high school, like we were like peas in a pod.
Yeah.
So it's like he would always get better grades than me. And I got decently good grades, but and so then I would feel not less than because of that, but I just felt like, oh, like I'm like not that smart.
I do feel like people believed in us and we were validated a lot, but we beat ourselves up so much. And it's funny because like when I started taking improv, I was like, immediately was like, oh yeah, I'm the least funny person here. Like every single class. And I definitely gravitated towards you. The first time I met Jarvis was at the graduation show for our 101.
Right.
We had separate 101 classes, and we performed like, I think my class performed first and then Jarvis's class. I remember watching you and being like, he is so funny. This is insane.
Aw.
And so we had a little...
We need to work together in about 7 years.
Yeah. Fast forward 10 years, there's going to be a whole podcast and everything.
Wagon to his horse. No, but we had drinks afterwards, and Jarvis and our friend Mercedes, I was like,
oh yeah, Mercedes.
They're so cool. They're so funny.
Mercedes is so cool.
Like, I immediately, I feel like Jarvis and I was like, you're so easy to be around. And it felt like one of the easiest like friendships ever. And I was like reminiscing, and I sent our group chat a bunch of photos of us as little babies in improv together.
Haunting when you see a young photo of yourself and it looks like a child. Literally, it's what, you're 20.
It's like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, we look so young. It's crazy.
I feel like, I guess that's 10 years ago.
It is 10 years ago. It is insane.
We've known each other for 10 years.
I know. I was thinking about that earlier.
But it was one of those things where it's like, and then, I talked to you and you're so hard on yourself. And I was like, how can this person be so hard on himself when he's like,
he must be a moron, actually.
No, dude, that's like kind of, that's my, like a Saiyan gets stronger as long as he doesn't die after a fight, the Zenkai boost. And so I have that, except for I'm fighting myself. And as long as I don't die, then I come back stronger. No, but like it's definitely
You do this, you do the classic point to yourself and then lose. You do the
I've
Vegeta.
learned to be kinder to myself about a lot of things, but it is still, I'm still so bad with compliments, and I think it's because I like know what I'm capable of, and I don't feel like I've reached even like half of what my actual potential is. And so I judge myself against where I believe I should be, and not like where I am, which is still like great. You know,
and you're judging yourself, and we all are, on data points no one else has access to.
right?
So like wait, I got a C minus, and you're like, well, yeah, you weren't even involved in 4 of the classes. Some of those classes were only in my brain. Sorry,
Yeah.
You didn't know I failed worrying about the color of the walls.
Right.
I skipped that class. I don't know. I mean, we had the same experience. I mean, I remember meeting you and going like, oh, I get this. I'm intuitively attracted to knowing this person. Like it immediately, I was like, I got to be fucking such good friends with this dude because he's so fucking funny, but is also like confident in it. It didn't feel like you were someone that if, you know, being funny was an interest and an aspiration. And I always felt like, because I think growing up, the reason I gravitated to some of my friends and then into like a dorkier group late after I dropped out of school was because they were the funniest people I knew.
Yeah.
And that was, in my mind, the shortcut to like, and part of it was the rebellion part, like, that's real smarts. That's the real, and you know, the bias is still there. Now I feel like after working in office space and stuff and like meeting people that are really nice and really smart. Now I'm
right. Some people have it all.
There's some people I just go like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And they're great parents and they're just,
have
it all together.
But I think one thing that like is really clear to me now that wasn't clear to me when I was younger is that the people I have the best time with, who I'm like closest to, that I've had the longest friendships with, are the people who I can really just be myself around.
Yeah.
I don't have to put on airs. I don't have to like try and impress or like act like I'm someone else.
And you can't conceive of that when you're younger. That's
No.
finding your people, it seems like an impossible task.
You know what's interesting about that? I do think that I always thought about myself as like whatever the child equivalent of a social climber is. Because I remember like my childhood friends that I would hang out with. I was like, you know, doing well academically, and that was something that like mattered because I had this vague idea of how it would improve my outcomes or whatever in life, and I didn't know what that meant, but like it was like a thing that I was like, I want to keep doing that.
If I pray every day, I'll go to some place in the sky.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing. It's like that I would do if I had kids. Like I actually would be able to. And this is circumstance for me. It's not the fault of any individual. It's just that like I was in a weird situation during adolescence where no one was like the people who were thrust into my parental roles did not sign up for that, and you know, did so out of respect for my mom and wanting to keep me in the same environment that I had been in and not have to go be taken care of by someone I didn't have the same relationship with or go to a different school or like, you know, so I can't fault anyone for that. And in fact, I appreciate that, you know, that care was taken at that time. But I didn't have like traditional parenting happening to me.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like I was having to like absorb all of that stuff from osmosis and from other people and shit. And
you got to take into account, like, it's the same with traditional parenting, I'm sure, but like there's a kind of lack of people contributing their values at a given time, right? Because it goes with any family, I guess, but like when it's kind of like guardians and kid, and maybe you're also kind of an indoor kid, I'm just like, well, I'm all right. I guess if I don't value this right now, why would I? My mom doesn't seem to care about that thing.
So when I was like younger, I remember I would like play Yu-Gi-Oh against like my friends in my neighborhood, and they I kicked their ass, dude. But it like started to become a thing where it's like, okay, this isn't a competition, no one's having fun. And so I'm gonna go to like the comic book store and like go compete against adults or whatever. And but then I had like people, like I always felt like I was like not a kingmaker in that like I could choose like who would be successful, but I felt like I was like a talent scout where like when I would enter a new place, I'd be like, I'm gonna hitch my ride to this person because I've identified that this person is like the one who has the gift of gab.
There's someone else like who's dunking, and then you see at the back there's like somebody getting a ton of assists.
Right. And I'm like, I think underappreciated this person. And so I feel like I felt like that with you and like with Anastasia, where I'm like, yes, this is a person I'm going to hitch my cart to because I think very highly of them. And the people I grew up around, I care about them, you know, still to this day, but we had different desires and different interests. And we started to divide in that. And I didn't want to hitch my ride to someone who wasn't going in a direction that I wanted to go, and instead would find a new, and that's why it feels like social climbing. I would like find new community and then go in that direction because it was where I wanted to be going. It was like I was a hitchhiker. Like that's what it felt. I was like a social hitchhiker because I didn't have the guidance of like parents or whatever. It was like more like people who would like give me food and like led me to my own, you know.
You don't want to say like, there's always the temptation to just adapt to whatever environment you're in and go like you get picked up and you're like, hey, where are you going? And they're like, I'm going south. And I'm like, I was supposed to go north, but I'll just pretend I'm going south
exactly. Well, because I'm lonely and I like community.
And then you find out you actually quite enjoy going south, and you're like, yeah, sure, I guess.
Right. And
if
I was
it's
like,
good.
I love the direction that person's going, and they're in a cool car.
Yeah, this car rocks.
Yeah.
I love the music here. I guess I like south now.
Yeah. Okay, but that's a cool little conversation. Hopefully that's like helpful to people. I think the TLDR is basically like, don't be afraid to be enthusiastic. Your people are out there. If you know, like the people around you aren't able to share your joy and your enthusiasm, there are people somewhere that do, whether it's in like online communities or in like local clubs and things of that nature. Like especially when it comes to you know, if you're in high school or college, there's like there's clubs that you can join. Like I had like we had mentors in college, and like my mentor Corey, he was like a 5th year student. Like a lot of people like go through tech in 5 years because it's a really hard school, but he was a senior and I was like when I was a freshman, and so he was like my mentor, and he was like the president of the mobile app development club, and I was like, oh, he's so cool. He's like a Caribbean dude, and so I wasn't that interested in mobile app development. But I became interested in the personalities and the people and like the lives that they'd built for themselves and the community that they'd built. And I was gravitated to that. And then that brought me into things that I could be interested in, you know, around that. And I met so many cool people that I kept hitching my ride to. And it kind of gave me, a little bit of like, helped me find things that I value and find interesting.
Actually, yeah, I will say it's, I guess, my closing on that would just be, it's if you feel intuitively as though you have imposter syndrome for this social environment you're in. Imposter syndrome, in all cases, is basically just a misallocation of real concerns. It's, wow, I don't feel like I belong here. I guess I'm an imposter. It's like, well, there's something more specifically you're worried about, and so you're putting it in a place where there's nothing you can do about it. It's, I'm a liar and that can't be solved. That is, everyone does it, sounds old, but it is an indulgence, and it is something you have to choose not to do it, unfortunately. And when it comes to friends and environment, if you feel like you're an imposter and you're pushing yourself into it, it's either, in my opinion, as somebody that made both of these mistakes, it's either that you're artificially trying to fit yourself into a space that you don't enjoy or find fulfilling, or that the version of you that you're pushing into that space is something that the other people don't enjoy, and that you're trying to retrofit, you're trying to jerry-rig this social group in a way that no one, it's not good for anyone. Everyone should feel organic.
And a little discomfort is okay, but don't feel like you need to change yourself and be a different person than who you are.
Actually, that's a good point, because there is I feel like, hey, always be yourself, so-and-so. That's something that gets repeated a lot, and there is genuine sincerity to it. But I think sometimes people, like, especially as a kid, you misunderstand that as, well, okay, I guess, well, I have, like, people looking at me all the time, and I'm in school, and so, so I guess myself needs to become the thing that works. As opposed to, like, you can be whoever you want to be. It's just, if that's something that's like creating conflict or friction, look into it. Maybe it's something's working by. But if it's just like a lack of symmetry, like you just don't fit, that's okay.
Exactly.
That doesn't need to be fixed. You could just kind of reserve that for a different type of lifestyle.
And if you're really hard on yourself, just know that
it's because you're stupid.
It gets better, but very slowly. If you're me, I am currently across from my comically large computer science degree. And I'll have you know that every time I look at it, I think about the fact that I graduated with high honors and I should have graduated with highest honors, but I was 0.02 off of the GPA cutoff for that. And it annoys me to this day and no one cares. But why? So why do I keep thinking about it? Why does it matter? What is wrong with me? It's mental illness probably. And so recognize that and seek help where appropriate.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't go away, but everything else can get better by itself. It's, that spiraling we're talking about. I need my headphones, etc. Also, it's not, I don't know. Don't get like, this term's always weird to me. Don't get like too black-pilled. Don't go too nihilism with it. Like, don't go on 4chan, appreciate having a bit of a community there, and then all of a sudden adopt everything else that they're saying because you like being there. And I'm saying this is, it's kind of what I was doing when I was not going to class and stuff, is I was just going like, actually, it's not me that doesn't fit. It is bad.
I think that I do think that
bad.
enthusiasm and joy is not usually a feeling that is associated with like those like black pill circles. So like I could be wrong. Maybe someone's like, I am enthusiastic and joyous about nihilism or whatever, but like those don't feel like congruous, but like
it's mitigating pain as opposed to like maximizing
exactly
happiness.
But like I definitely feel like if you follow joy and enthusiasm, that'll like lead you to a good, I mean, responsibly and make good life decisions and stuff, but like
non-harmful
to the best that you can, like that hopefully will lead you to a good place.
And probably honestly,
curiosity,
having a more interesting personality,
true.
that people want to be around.
All right, so now let's talk about how Flimbo got canceled for saying the boo slur.
And Anastasia, you say it, long beep.
Oh yeah, Anastasia made a face that actually it's a face for the slur. It's like a shorthand.
It's kind of way worse.
Real quick, I wanted to talk about Fyre Fest 2 because that apparently just got announced, and I don't know how much information there is about it, but I want to know whatever it is.
It feels like 1,000 years ago that Fyre Fest.
Yeah, the guy like went to jail. Ja Rule was fine. The guy went to jail. I know everyone was curious about.
We just like to cover that
Ja.
on most things. There was been a terrorist attack. Ja Rule was fine.
Yeah,
no one near him. Blake Ja Rule was fine.
Did like the Eminem and 50 Cent beefs with Ja Rule did way more damage to him than the Fyre Fest did.
You could do like credit card scams and stuff once you've been put 6 feet underground by the two of them. It's fine.
Though Ja Rule asked for it because he mentioned Haley's name on a song.
Yeah, he's like a shitty. He did shitty stuff.
And so that gives Eminem license to lyrically murder you.
Eminem pushing his glasses up and teleporting
He's like,
behind
wow,
you.
okay. So Fyre Fest has returned.
Thankfully, the coordinates are included on the website. That way.
So that when I go missing, you know where to start looking.
So that when I get swept off in my fucking inflatable camp bed onto the Pacific.
Yeah, that way you can find my soggy cheese sandwich.
Well, it's funny, we were talking just before this about Love is Blind and the like. It's until you see an issue, it's sometimes easy to forget how much work comes into producing something.
Right.
And until the first Fyre Fest went disastrously wrong, and we all, as a collective community, held hands and watched 2 documentaries about it.
Yeah.
That came out at the same time. I guess I had never thought about like, oh, you hear bad stories about festivals, and it's usually like someone specifically did something bad or a tragedy happened or there was a fire. And then you're like, oh, but a lot of people still got the right tent. A lot of people still make sure to build the stage not on like sandpaper or something.
Yeah, they had it's like there were parts of it that were totally adequate.
Yeah. And then you look at Fyre Fest and it's like, wow, I didn't even know you could get that wrong.
Yeah, like doing a Fyre Fest 2, knowing what Fyre Fest 1 was, that is blank.
That is gauche.
Not gauche, not presumptuous. So what?
It's bold.
It is very bold.
Yeah, bold. I'd say that's optimistic.
It's very optimistic. It is ambitious. Yeah.
Ambitious.
I have a few quotes from the organizer, Billy McFarland.
Yeah,
I'm insane.
who's back from jail after doing a billion different frauds.
He beat up the QAnon shaman guy, I bet.
He got out of jail in 2022 and started planning Fyre Fest 2 almost immediately after that.
Right.
And a few quotes from him. Fyre Festival 2 has the potential to take over the festival industry. Fyre 2 is real. My dream is finally becoming a reality. Fyre 2 really isn't about the past, and it's not really about me. It's about taking the vision, which is strong.
It's like he hasn't forgotten how to LinkedIn post, which is pretty impressive. Give him a few years in jail and he's going to brush up on his prose.
That's
dude.
white boy magic.
It is, because this is the same
Posting.
white boy magic that was like defrauding investors and lying about income forms, allegedly. But then again, he went to jail for fraud. So wait, not alleged.
Allegedly before he got convicted. Convictedly.
Are there any, is there any information on this page? It's MX, so Fyre.mx, that's Mexico.
Yeah,
Top
so it's
level
going to be
domain.
in Mexico.
Look, man, it feels
year.
a little bit like Hawk Tuah releasing a coin. Where you're like, yeah, what else do you do? Now that this has happened and you went to jail, everybody you got to do, you got to come back and do
dude,
something else.
Firecoin, that would be so sick.
Oh, it hurts when you touch it.
That would be.
Because it's like, that's a thing where it's literally like basically fraud coin.
Yeah, from a guy that did it.
From a guy that did it. It's like if Madoff coin.
Yeah, Pyramid Ethereum.
Yeah. Pyramid.eth.
MLM, it stands for money, love money.
Money, love money. Motherload mine, RuneScapers.
The cool thing about Fyre Fest 2 is that it's May 30th to June 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So really just a few months away.
That's
There have been no artists booked.
Yeah. I saw
It's just Ja Rule.
that.
Is Ja Rule associated with
Blink-182, they were like allegedly going to perform at Fyre Fest 1, so I know they will not be signing up for this. And if they do, then I don't think money is good right now.
Am I misremembering? It wasn't the original Fyre Fest. It was not like an open ticket event, right?
You had
was
to
just
like, it was like quite expensive. It was like meant to be like this mix between a resort and a concert. So
Everyone knows what this is, right? There's basically circa 2019. There was a festival
2017.
organized by Ja Rule and this super dastardly criminal white boy magic guy. He looks like exactly what you're imagining. And they basically just put on a horribly organized festival, put a bunch of lives in danger, and then a series of hilarious dominoes spiral off of that, ending in...
And then everyone made fun of him because it was expensive, so it was only like influencers in their mind, only like influencers and rich people. But the reality of it was that the workers on the island and lots of people were screwed over who were not rich influencers, who were just everyday people, like the caterers and stuff like that. Now, people they raised money through like GoFundMe's and such, but it was, I think a lot of people were still fucked over at the end of the day. Oh, so there's like literally nothing. It's like just a pitch page, but
There's literally nothing.
That's crazy.
We
can explore the tickets, but now we can buy the
Let
tickets.
me see the bag on that. What do
buy the
we...
tickets.
Ooh, Ignite.
A
the
nifty 15.
essentials. Ooh,
What's
only
the-
$5,000.
So there's 1,500, 5,000, and fire.
Fire. You can set your wallet on fire.
It'd be better for you.
There's a plane.
Cool.
It's going down.
Plane to Fyre Fest thankfully crashes.
This reminds me of, I think it was on nights where we were like looking into, what were we looking into that turned into like, it was like that investment company.
Oh, that's right. Where we had a hunch. We were the hunch bunch.
Yeah, but do you remember what started the hunch?
It was the Gentleman Boys.
Oh yeah, we
Tuxedo
started
Zone.
looking at, this is on nights. You can get that at patreon.com/sadboys. But we looked at what appeared to be just a cool. Oh, it was like rich kids living in the height of luxury, Great Gatsby style.
Yeah.
And then
You too can be stock footage.
yeah, and then it turned into something like this where it's just like everything's hella vague.
And that's all it has to be, right? Because he didn't go to jail, we should point out, for anything associated with Fyre Fest. So
I think it was the fraud
was?
associated with Fyre Fest. So
so
like he
oh.
defrauded you can't fuck over rich people because that's the one thing that you're not allowed to do.
that's illegal.
And so I think he was like lying on state like basically if you doctor like bank statements and shit like that to like secure
that's
funding.
Right.
then like that's a financial fraud.
I was mixing up his financial frauds with his previous one before that.
Oh, because he did also have some stuff. So it could be a combination, or I'm not sure.
He multi-classed.
But he multi-classed into double fraud.
Double.
He's double wielding fraud.
But as a rich guy, he went to jail for what, 25 minutes or something?
Not long enough.
3 years or something.
I mean, I guess who knows?
I mean, what do I care?
What do I care? It's like the carceral system. But like to your point, I don't think he went to jail for creating this horrible event. It was for the financing of that event.
It wasn't for the actually unethical thing.
Yeah.
What's the what do I get with my Fuego VIP access $5,000 elevated experience? Your own exotic getaway.
You're on like a loft. You're like a foot above ground.
You get an elevated mattress.
Yeah. You get an elevated mattress.
So I don't drown.
Yeah, you get like a box spring.
The Fyre Fuego package grants four day Fuego.
Women
Fuego access?
Women Island. Sorry, is that how I'm? The Island of Women.
Oh,
I mean that might just be the name of it.
wait. I mean, $5,000. You say?
Oh,
well.
In close viewing of the fight pit.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
I'm back in. I've never been.
Hold on.
Is Jake Paul like doing a?
The fight pit. He'll be watching a fight to the death. This island is technically on international waters.
2 man enter, 1 man leaves.
1 man leaves. 1 man gets a ticket to the concert. 1 man dies.
500 people attend Fyre Fest.
There wasn't enough danger in the first Fyre Fest, so now we gotta kill somebody.
It's the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
fuck it. If they're gonna die, make it more interesting. Dozens of hotels and many rental villas available on the island. Right?
Fyre is partnered with a number of hotels. We'll not mention them by name, but there's
2.
a number of them.
Plural.
I won't tell you what number. 0.
We have partnered with -8 hotels, and you'll have to pay double to stay in one.
This feels like a glorified Kickstarter where they keep the money.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because they're being deliberately vague, and they're like, hey, if we sell enough, maybe we'll do something.
That's crazy.
A plane.
All right, wait. But you know what's great? Planes in fire like that. Like go back there. That's awesome. That right there. That's gonna make everyone feel really safe.
A tower.
Yeah. Every plane, by the way, is at the angle of that 9/11 footage. It's going into the hotel.
No, look out!
What do you mean?
Oh, dude. Yeah, actually, that's the universal image of a plane crash. That angle means literally we're going down.
Here's my favorite part. Under accommodations, it goes accommodations, a bunch of text, and then a button that says accommodations not included.
That's hilarious.
And then it says explore accommodations.
Well, why even say they're not included?
Well, wait, can we explore the accommodations? Does it actually say the partnered hotels?
Not included.
Accommodations. Everything doesn't need a page like this, by the way. Sometimes you could just put the information on the fucking website.
I think you get like a exclusive rate on a hotel.
Yeah, and then if you say book accommodations, does it just take you to the ticket thing, or does it? Okay.
Wait.
2 ticket package, standard hotel. Now, I just want to see a single hotel mentioned. So could we go deluxe hotel and Fyre Festival 2 ticket package? This is gonna be 10 grand, by the way. Oh, okay. No, it's
Oh, Tony.
No. It's 2,500 per person.
It is 10 grand.
Oh,
after
there
the whole
is. So this is in Cancun. So I don't know how far away Cancun is
Chicago.
from like Isla Mujeres.
Once you extract the accommodation from a festival, you have sort of robbed it of its festival element. This is like this is just an event.
Just because
this
you're
is VidCon.
You're at a resort, first of all, that people just go to for vacation.
Yeah.
So now you've added like this music festival to your resort package. And so now you're not getting the value out of your resort because you have to spend so much goddamn time at the concert, which is not in the same place. Well, hold on. Can we go to maps? Look at the distance between the Women Island and Cancun. It is a ferry. Okay. So it does seem like it takes a while. I'm sure there must be some faster way that Google Maps doesn't know about. This is me being extremely generous.
I
there's a
have to
ferry.
just throw out imagine, okay? You dropped even the cheapest ticket price, and then you quadruple that to stay at a hotel nearby, and then you get on, you take an hour trip to go and hang out with Billy Penis or whatever the organizer's name is.
Yeah.
Where he waterboards you in a tent. They try and play music, but the speaker like falls on an infant.
Yeah.
And then they go like, Do you want to post about it?
But not before defrauding an entire economy, a town's economy.
And then you get to be blurry faced in a Netflix documentary called "The Biggest Idiot Influencers Ever."
They did it again. It's called "Fool Me Once: a Fyre Story."
I gotta say, if you go this time, it's on you. Guys, you did the.
What's
the
funny
pre-alpha
is that
was.
a lot of people will probably just go for the content, which is why they went the first time.
In which case, it's good they're staying at a hotel and not, in the water like previously.
Yeah, it's like going to be like, hey guys, we're at the resort. Oh, turns out the event was canceled, so I guess we're just going to hang out at this resort that we paid for.
Yeah, the ferry's gonna break down.
Yeah,
They're gonna accidentally put like Sunny D in the engine or something.
Everyone's going to be safe.
Oh, I spilled my Mai Tai all over the controls.
It's going to be like fucking Kid Rock he's stuck in the middle of the ocean. He can't make it to the stage.
The ferry is my stepdad with a big rowboat.
The All-American Rejects are they're caught in a barge.
We have lost all of our One Direction cover band Two Direction in the center of the ocean. They've been carried away by a hawk.
And they're locked and they cannot go in either direction. And the irony of this is not lost upon us.
But Billy will be performing on stage some of his freeform poetry that he wrote about being in jail. My name's Billy, and I'm here to say.
Yeah, so that's pretty odd, right?
Hey, being in jail.
There's a lot of islands.
Go
A lot
away.
of islands. There's a lot of hotels on the island. So I assume that there's a way to get a hotel on that island.
Just not the ones they partnered with in a
but if you're paying for the deluxe, then it's deluxe in that you're dumb.
Dude, if someone's stupid enough to pay $5,000 for Fyre Fest 2, I don't want them staying at my hotel.
True.
They're gonna eat all the curtains or something.
If you buy the Prometheus package, then you get to stay on a yacht.
Oh.
It's $15,000 to dock.
Dude, what fucking package
that's
do I
nothing.
get that gets me a hotel?
Yeah. What is
package?
normal? How do you just go to the festival in a normal style?
Yeah.
Well, if you pay $1 million, you can fly your private jet helipad onto Little John while he's performing.
You can swing down on a rope from the helicopter if you pay enough money.
With the Icarus package, you just hover above the island.
Right, you
Get a
actually
severe
go
sunburn.
into the fire. Yeah, it's called Fyre Fest because you go higher and higher until your wax
free drop.
747 melts.
Why did I find this?
Why did I fly the wax 747?
I gotta stop flying Boeing.
God, I should have known it was called the Icarus package.
Dude, respect, by the way. As always, I just want to give, it's sad again that so many people that are whistleblowers for Boeing just became incredibly sad and died.
Yeah.
From just being so right after they did whistleblowing and were hoping the company would have consequences. I know what I would do is let him kill myself. I would immediately go
Right before you talk to a lawyer.
right beforehand.
Oh, you can create the fire with the Phoenix Pass. It doesn't just keep going up. It like ascends into like the Heavens Pass.
The
It's $1
Phoenix
billion.
Pass is where you legally die for 30 seconds
Oh,
and they
that's great.
defibrillate you back.
I think I can get that for the $1,500 package, to be honest
During
with
the
you.
drop of like this.
This one is
EDM song.
accommodation included.
Oh, finally.
And that's
Very-
all it costs?
Where though?
Very kind
Where's
of them.
that accommodation?
This one is actually on the island
Oh, thank God.
where the artists stay.
Not in Jamaica. This is not. It's actually in Hawaii, but they will bus you over in a 747 where somebody has to pedal their feet to fly it.
Yeah, it's experimental teleportation transport. Your atoms may not be arranged the same way upon arrival.
Please make sure there's not a fly in the teleporter at the same time.
Yeah.
It will ruin the festival.
You'll become a fly.
Dude, this is going to ruin the tour.
This is gonna ruin the world.
This is
the
gonna
world tour.
ruin the Fire experiences. I should hope so.
All right. Well, I guess we'll keep tabs on that. And we'll let you know when we buy our tickets. Prometheus. And there's like 9 rings.
It's $1,100,000.
No fucking
That
shot.
100K is extremely good.
Wait, what do you get for? I was joking.
You get accommodation.
When I said $1 billion, I didn't think there would be a fucking package for $1 million.
They book you a flight and then you get to stay on this yacht.
Dude,
That's so. Are you kidding?
these stock photo images of vehicles are cracking me up, man.
at angles that they should not be at.
That's bad news.
Why, that yacht is leaving the water. It's taking
capsizing.
flight. It's capsizing or it's taking flight.
It's doing a big jump.
You get a
it's doing
free
kickflip.
kayak and it's like turned over with like
Watch our
bubbles going
yacht
up.
do a kickflip over Ela Mujeres.
You know what's funny too is they can't use photos from the last Fyre Fest.
Yeah, true.
Because Because it's all like people.
Dude,
ablaze.
honestly, I'd respect it more if the photo carousel was like of the cheese sandwich and like and like the fucking dirty like FEMA tents and shit. that they did.
Somebody being carried away.
Wait.
a
That
mattress.
one looks like Photoshop. Is that real? That woman's on like a floaty. The one where it just was. If you just go that one in the middle.
Well, that's the accommodation. That's how you get across
Yeah,
on
I
the
can't
ferry.
tell. It kind of does look Photoshop.
It's like because it's both shots are in everything's in. It's weird focus, but whatever.
Dude, I would literally, rather than Billy Bones buy me a fucking ferry
Billy
or
Bones,
whatever,
buy me a bed.
I would honestly rather take like one of those
Hold on.
romantic swan boats.
Jacob,
where I
pause.
pedal.
Those little icons above Fyre experiences did a child draw those with a pencil?
Yeah, in jail. He didn't have anything else to do.
It looks like it literally. Wait, what am I looking at? Is this like?
Yeah, what?
Oh, okay. Now I can see it. I thought that it was truly like a pencil drawing. That was but it is more intentional. than
What
I
is
thought.
this?
Guys.
There's a shark.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Everyone knows that's a sideways traffic light.
Well, unless you get
It's the top view of a boat.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. I
And
don't
then
know
a
if that's true.
boat.
Oh wait, no. It looks like a submarine.
It just can't be, right? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
It looks like a submarine.
And a parachute
It's a
doesn't make any
yeah,
sense. And a
spaceship.
sailboat.
Sailboat.
It's a 4-hour trip across the water.
Do you
in a
want to take
sailboat.
shark or blimp or?
Dude, I'll pass, I guess.
We'll take a dirigible around the world.
Yeah. These are the initial
$40 million
designs.
we'll buy the dirigible.
Dude,
It's like giving us permission to spend your money on something.
this is literally...
It's like a fucking Twitch stream. It's like, guys, we've got a stretch goal of buying a dirigible.
Would you like to give it a swing? And then the Kickstarter is delivered on, and what they were able to produce was some of a hammock.
Dude.
And they attached it to like they put it on a plane's wing.
It's just 2 ropes. They're like, we didn't have enough rope to make the whole hammock.
Turns out the wax wings.
Fight pit with no explanation is
Is the fight pit explanation anywhere?
rent free in my head. Dude.
Can we find that anywhere? That seems
It's
so
a
crazy.
6-foot deep hole in the ground that someone dug.
Yeah, they do a bad job. They do a bad job of
it's,
setting up a gladiatorium.
It's like if you want to enter, if you want to go to Fyre without paying, you can enter the single elimination fight to the death tournament in the fight pits.
Accommodation not included, unfortunately.
Accommodation not included. All right. Well, we
24/7 curated itinerary something.
they do make it. They do not. They're like, and you can listen to our exclusive Spotify playlist for the extra $1 million. Okay, we had one more thing. There's a thing that we were supposed to talk about much earlier in the show.
Lock me up.
But we lost track of time at the hanging out with your friend's factory. So the thing that we were supposed to be talking about today, before we got ahead of ourselves, is like a health influencer. What's the deal, Jacob?
Yep, her name is Belle Gibson.
Insane.
She's
No relation?
Australian.
Insane.
No relation.
No relation.
No relation.
No.
No relation.
So I have a little bit of her backstory here.
Okay.
So she was born in 1991 in Tasmania. She left her family home when she was 12 to live with one of her classmates.
Whoa.
And then she lives her life. At 18, she becomes a mother.
Wow.
And she makes this mobile app called The Whole Pantry in 2013 when she was 20,
Wow. Grind set.
21.
Jesus.
Yeah, she was like doing the damn thing. She was an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Very respected.
That's hard, unlike giving birth.
Right.
Right,
Now,
right.
yeah, when she made an app, that's when I respected her.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
Jesus, that's work. You know what I mean?
And her app became very popular. It was voted Apple's best food and drink app in 2013 when she released
Wow, versus
No,
fucking-
versus versus drinkies and foodies.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
Capri Sun's app.
It beat the app where you pretend to slurp a Capri Sun out of your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It beat beer.io. Is this the second freaking Australian we've looked at?
it. Yes,
Oh yeah, it is.
it is.
It actually is. So it says here in 2015, 2 years after she burst onto the wellness scene, she announced that she'd been diagnosed with cancer and promised to make a $300,000 donation to charity.
One after the other? She got diagnosed and just jumped.
Yeah, and she said that like her business would donate $300,000 to various charities. And then here's a clip of her on a news show when like her app was popping off.
You can tell because she's like working really
Yeah.
hard.
I gotta say, this is one of the most Australian screenshots I've ever seen about just everything about it. I don't know how to explain it. All the colors at play, the way her hair is. I don't know. It's hitting me. It's different.
Yeah.
Part of a new breed of entrepreneur. She is an ecopreneur.
Eco.
Tastes like mango.
Belle launched the
Tastes
Whole
like mango.
Pantry app last year.
It's essentially a recipe collection full of whole foods and vegetarian recipes.
That's basically what she was doing. She
Interesting. She kind of Steve Jobs.
Steve
She
Jobs
was saying
did.
that she was fed up with traditional treatments. They weren't
I've
working
had bloody
for her.
enough of this.
And so she was going to try to solve the problem from the inside by eating healthy
inside
foods.
of her body.
And she was claiming that it was working for her.
Oh
Dude,
my
such a
God.
cool
And
man.
so some of these charities that she was claiming to have donated to were like, we never received a donation.
What is going on with people doing that, by the way?
That's it's like no one's gonna contact the charity.
Dude, if you're gonna lie about something, virtuous, do it in a non-verifiable way.
Right.
Do it like, oh yeah, we went out and we gave food to the homeless. And like, well, who are you gonna ask? So yeah, we did. Like, again, I never want to be like advising
fraudsters.
dastardly or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the number of time people fucking YouTubers do this all the time. They do like, yeah, we're gonna donate to charity. I'm like, you mean you're going to do something related to third parties that have a ton of systems in place to verify things? That's the most verified thing. Other nonprofits exist to check nonprofits.
Well, and charities themselves don't want people claiming they're donating to them without actually donating to them because they aren't getting the money.
I actually helped Anastasia with something the other day, and I beat you up. And I'm like, yeah, no, I helped her with something.
This is actually a true story.
Well, no, it's actually a prediction.
No.
Yeah, it's so easily verifiable because you know who's gonna let you know that they didn't receive money is
It's
the
just
charity
so
that needs
crazy.
money.
It's so, and like, it's like if I told you something about a friend of yours that I don't know. But I was just like, or somebody I don't know as well. I like said like, yeah, Russell the other day, he actually said thank you to me because I made him a meal and I gave him a bunch of money.
What? No, what? You know you didn't. You liar.
He was
I hate
visiting
you.
me at my place.
No, he wasn't. Fuck you. I'll
Jarvis,
kill you.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Oh,
I was
okay,
just
sorry.
doing a
I
bit.
lost sight of myself.
Oh, let go of me, man. His powers.
This is how we find out. 2 hours into the podcast during the health
in
food
the
thing.
thumbnail.
No one mentions it. No one mentions
Me
it.
purple in the thumbnail.
Yeah, you're Thanos.
Huh?
You're Thanos cosplay. That's why he's purple, not because he's dying.
What was that? Oh, dude, somebody watching Infinity War go like, is he okay? Why is he-
Oh my god, he's purple.
He's choking.
Someone get him some oxygen.
Because of that, there were some independent investigators and reporters
Right.
that were kind of like looking into her claims and then also like trying to find any evidence that she actually did have cancer.
Always a really sketchy thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, because
Another
you were
kind of
granted so much goodwill. Someone in my high school said that they had cancer, and everyone accommodated for a very, very long time. And then somehow, some way, we found out that they were lying
That
about
is
it.
Yeah.
truly wild.
And it was insane. It was like sent ripples through the high school
Right.
community.
It's a
boogie.
crazy thing to claim.
Yeah, because you don't want to fact check it because you don't want to be that person, right?
It's also
Yeah.
kind of again, I don't want to, and I actually have an advice on how you could have defrauded more effectively, Bertie. Madoff, not the one that's cool. I just don't. These are cliches for a reason. Lying about cancer is a cliche for a reason. Defrauding charities is a cliche evil thing to do for a reason. And it's because it's happened a bunch. It's
Right.
because people have seen it a bunch.
Right.
Like methods exist. Cancer in particular is obviously an extremely test heavy, an extremely treatment heavy process where you are constantly getting imagery, evidence, updates, appointments. Like,
yeah. If
to
you were
not
ever
have-
asked to summon evidence, you would have ample amounts of
But
it.
Jordan, no one's going to donate to you if you have IBS.
Well, yeah, apparently.
What if?
What Patreon? Patreon's doing pretty well.
It has to be cancer.
What was
Pull the
that? What was
heartstrings.
that? Bad breath disease, halitosis. That Listerine made up.
Going up, be like, I have cough.
Yeah, I have
terminal halitosis.
I have halitosis, dude. My breath is stank.
It's like so bad, everyone's gonna kill me.
Dude, flowers wilt in my wake.
By the way, just major respect for, and because this is the crazy shit, is when they do a big lie like this, and they're like, yeah, I'll be on Good Morning America.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'll do the
I'd actually
biggest
love
platform.
to be on Good Morning America because they've heard so much about me in Australia.
And
so
I'm
they don't know
American.
how I've eaten a fruit and it's given me a power.
Who's the most famous Tasmanian, and don't say the devil? Like, who's there
The
like a super
Tasmanian
famous?
angel.
There's got to be one we know, but we just don't know they're
It's
from
from the-
Tasmania.
Miss Sunday Movies used to teach in
How about
Tasmania,
instead of finding that out, we keep going with the story?
Oh, we're doing the show?
yeah. No,
Jacob helps me Google stuff because I don't know which fingers go on the keyboard. I keep using my feet.
So like, what happened after
So
that?
essentially, people were calling her out and asking for evidence and
Oh,
stuff. And then
That's rude.
she
Leave her
was
alone.
just like, "Yeah, I lied." She
Dude, pimp.
and then she just admitted
You know, you caught me in a lie. Actually,
that she lied. But now,
I was just telling a bit of a
Lock
fib.
me up.
But
Walk
she's
me up.
never been super consistent on what exactly were lies.
Oh, that's like the Elon thing where he's like,
yeah.
I'll of course I'll be bad about. I'll not tell the truth, and I'll expect to be corrected
bomb.
about that.
She's claimed to have multiple types of cancer. She did confirm that she didn't have brain cancer at one point.
Over a long enough period of time, cancer will develop in the body. So if you think about it, I kind of will have cancer at some point. So I'm actually doing myself a service in preventative measures.
Cutting back to the anchor that's presenting that episode, and they're like,
So back in 2016, 2017, she did an interview with 60 Minutes after she had kind of admitted that she was lying about a lot of her
Right.
health stuff.
she literally just said psych,
Uh-huh.
but not psych, I
And,
don't have cancer.
And then the reason that this is coming up now is, one, they released a essentially fictionalized version of what she did in the form of a show.
Oh,
She's American now in the
And then they also, earlier this month, a couple weeks ago, did another Australian 60 Minutes interview with her. And so we have some like interesting new clips from that
the
interview.
clout poisoning. No, the reputation's already destroyed, and it's like, no, I have to go back on
it's
TV.
It's OJ being like, okay, I'll say I did it on TV as long as I get to be on TV.
Kidding.
No, but if I did it, which I did.
So
Well, what I remember from
When I
doing
did
the
it.
murder, yeah.
When I did it.
wanna-
when.
I want us to watch the intro to this
Okay, perfect.
60 Minutes kind of like highlight.
If OJ's book
So
was called
to get this
Oops.
straight, so there's an OG 60 Minutes, and then there's a Netflix show about a fictionalized tale of this woman's misgivings,
Yeah.
and then
of her fictionalized stories.
of her fictionalized stories, and then 60 Minutes ran it back this year.
We're gonna do like a follow up and see if she'll give us any more information.
Where are they now?
Because she was being like weird as hell when she originally gave the interview. And
I'm actually a big ARG, and you've got to solve my little puzzles.
Hey, you tricked. Hey, so I've been doing a little voice for it. Takes off a mask.
Yeah.
It's like, it's David Blaine.
The thing is, I never had brain cancer. What I do have is an appetite for destruction. And it's like
just
a
got
good
mind
electric
freaked.
guitar. She like kicks over the thing,
Kid.
kicks over a kid, kicks over the camera.
It's a robot.
yeah.
Would you accept that you're a pathological liar?
Cooked.
Can we have a minute? Because I'm feeling really belittled.
Belle, please.
Is this the actual 60 Minutes, or is this like a weird edit of it? Because I don't know what I thought of 60 Minutes. I've seen a chunk of it here and there. I didn't know it was like presented like a monster truck trailer.
It is.
This Friday.
Well, I think
They'll
this
get
is
to the interview.
Did you lie? I'm actually feeling kind of persecuted right now.
this is like
the liar.
the teaser.
Right,
It's just like crazy.
yeah.
Also, take it.
Everything is crazy now.
Everything is. Yeah, it is.
Everything has to be a monster truck ad.
Do you think it was because of the Joker? Because he was so crazy? The movie? Okay.
Why so serious?
Also, I saw some people on Reddit saying that in general, Australian 60 Minutes goes kind of crazy mode.
Okay, good to know. Maybe I'll have to check out some more.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's such a funny reputation to have.
Yeah.
Because they're all drunk.
These long form documentary pieces, they go insano style.
Just the anchor kick flipping for some reason.
Punch her in the face during the interview.
They fight it. But because of your lies, you have to fight a kangaroo. And then they bring it in.
Kangaroo Jack is the interviewer. Remember that movie?
Remember that old number?
That's my favorite part of 60 Minutes is the clock ticking.
Oh, that was, for the most part, the funny.
Yeah, that was. I want to see that for basically that kind of edit for everything.
We do a Sad Boys.
Yeah.
Me laughing and then you looking sad and then you laughing and me looking sad.
This week on Sad Boys. And so I thought, I'm going to kill him with my feelings. So you're saying you lied about everything?
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little belittled right now.
And then it's an edit of me going,
I Shrunk the Kids the way I'm feeling so belittled right now.
Dude, they do be little.
I don't know why I did that. Wasn't my Australian accent. I don't know why I didn't do that.
That was your Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I've been out of Australian practice. I got to get back on it.
What you got?
What's the clip with her brother and what's the deal with her brother?
Jacob, take the wheel.
She doesn't have one, turns out.
So not to jump around too much, but this is a clip of a cancer survivor who kind of like was following her like tips, talking about how Belle Gibson's like book and like all of her lies and stuff kind of like affected people who were going through that, who believed her.
Did you ever consider stopping your treatment while following Belle?
I mean, yeah, I considered it. Fortunately, my dad really pulls the strings on those kinds of decisions, and I never really had a chance to stop conventional medicine. But I think what it meant for me to look at Belle Gibson's content was that I was, feeling horrible from my cancer treatment. I was struggling with the changes in my body and my face. And I was looking at Belle Gibson on Instagram and I was like, she looks incredible. It must be the conventional medicine that's making me look so awful, look and feel so awful.
Oh my God.
So many of us fell for that con. Did you believe her that she'd cured her stage 4 brain cancer with juice?
I mean, it sounds so outrageous when you say it, but yeah, we all believed her. And I think it's actually not that hard to imagine because when you're desperate and looking for answers and somebody's giving them to you in such a palatable, Instagrammable, aesthetic way,
cases.
like you want to believe that.
And doing it without extracting conventional medicine, it's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, you should eat well.
Sure.
That's not an exclusion.
It's solving. Yeah.
So that's kind of like the effect she had on people. And so like understandably, like people were upset when they found out that she didn't have cancer and she was like lying about a lot of these other things.
I don't want to be like those globalists on the news kind of guy, but like when they were saying in that interview, like, yeah, we all fell for it. I'm like, yeah, because you promoted it. Because the news didn't do any due diligence.
Yeah,
you
why
just
didn't
that
they
looks
fact
interesting.
check anything?
They presented it the same way they would like a local man saved a kitty cat from a canal.
Yeah, they're just like, there needs to be so much. Isn't that what journalists are supposed to fucking do? It's not just like saying, I heard, like, that's literally like, hey, I heard this lady fixed something with she did a little, she did the fucking, I don't know.
That'll fill some of our stupid show.
In uplifting news, we found a lady who eats fruit and it cures diseases.
Pretty good. Anyway, moving on. Is the sun bad? No. Moving on.
The sun weighs in.
This is a clip from the most recent 60 Minutes interview.
I mean, 2009 was a really bad year for you, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. You had 3 heart operations. You suffered 2 cardiac arrests. You died twice on the operating table. You had a stroke. And you were diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumour and given 4 months to live.
Correct. And
What a year,
I still have the heart condition and I was supposed to have surgery for that.
You were
Dark Knight
supposed to
Rises
have
came out.
surgery.
And I did.
I mean, you go into extraordinary details. I had surgery about 7 hours ago. The doctor comes in and tells me the draining failed and I went into cardiac arrest and died for just under 3 minutes. I had the most intense bruising from the paddles when they electrocuted me back to consciousness. Minus the wires and constant throwing up of blood. Anyway, the procedure failed and I died.
Wait, it ends with anyway the procedure failed and I died?
So she just basically called her out for, she just said on camera that she'd never had surgeries for this condition. And then she pulled up tweets from her saying that she had a surgery for that condition. And she just sits there and goes,
She does the liar's nod. Can you play the last 5 seconds of that again where the interviewer cannot contain their chuckle?
It's funny because she's like, it says here that you died and you're dead right now. And she's like, that's correct.
And you're a ghost from the Victorian age and you've been a ghost 5 different times?
It's true.
I ate some veggies and I came back.
Anyway, the procedure failed and I died.
Wait, what did she say? I want to hear Belle's response. How do you respond to that?
See, I haven't read back through all of that. But I also think when you're young and have gone through the situation I had just gone through, you are melodramatic.
So from the skater world...
The situation was dying.
This interviewer rocks.
I do like...
Anderson Cooper could never.
I feel like there's a little bit more of that in non-American journalism, which I appreciate.
Where they just call you a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I think there's
exactly.
there's an American prestige for the heroes of the Washington Post in whereas
and it's all lies.
There's 2 kinds elsewhere. Is you're like a write for a Daily Mail, I say stupid stuff and I harass people online, I go outside their house, take photos, and then there's also the pretentious BBC panning shot of a location. It's like, we spoke to someone about something and they had things to say about it.
We spoke to a guy. Here it is.
You're right. And that's all we
and that's all we have time for
What
today.
about Jon Snow?
Huh?
So there's a baby.
Dude, just Anastasia, me when I'm coming up with Game of Thrones. Me when I'm George R. Martin.
When I'm workshopping character names
What
in
about
Game of Thrones.
Wait a minute. What about Tyrion Lannister?
Okay.
There's a British journalist named Jon Snow. He's like a prestigious journalist guy.
And the question, Jarvis, is what about?
What about it? You know you're right. I hadn't considered that.
Dude, what if he existed? Yeah. He's cool.
I'm saying, is he a legit guy or is he more of a sensational 60 Minutes kind of guy?
Well, I think he would have I think all broadcasters that aren't cheeky kind of chappies, they all would still say that they're, part of the... If you work for The Guardian, but you still write about how, Kate Upton's not, her tits are not big enough, then you are... You think you are
you're
elite.
a legit journalist who's doing real good work for
it's
the world.
paper you work for that determines whether or not,
That's
Whereas here it's I don't know, somebody that works for the Babylon Bee who's I'm fighting for truth.
Yeah.
Via these bad jokes.
All Americans think they're doing the Lord's work. Okay.
So this is another clip where she is then talking about her brother who we just saw in the last clip.
Oh, a twin brother.
Especially angry at an invention used by Belle to garner sympathy on multiple occasions that he is autistic.
I mean, you have a very offended brother who claims he has no idea why you would describe him as autistic.
It is heartbreaking.
Wait, pause. This is when you confront someone on Twitter for calling you a slur and they cry.
Oh, yeah. That dude.
It's heartbreaking because I called him autistic and he said, I don't know why you would call me that. But think about how that hurts me.
Yeah, here's a photo of me. This is who you're yelling at.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm
sorry, I was in a really dark place.
Yeah.
At my bedroom, the lights were off.
It is heartbreaking for me that he still carries stigma.
I don't think that
Oh my god, she rules. In before, it turns out she killed a baby with a car or something. But this interviewer appears to be the best.
It breaks my heart that he would
Well,
that he would carry so much stigma around the term.
That's not like even kind of what I was saying.
No, he's not autistic. Leave him alone.
Dude.
I don't think that comment means he carries stigma. He's upset with you for describing him as having autism.
Because he does.
Oh, okay.
Because he does.
I don't have autism at all. Even when I was a kid, she used to call me retard.
What did that make you think about yourself growing up?
I hated myself, and I didn't want to be around. I was shy, placid, and I didn't like to be out in the public just because things she said.
Yeah.
And she's come out and said that you're virtually non-verbal.
Correct.
Come on.
Like, I talk to a lot of people.
He's like, I'm
talking
verbal
right now.
all the time.
I do interviews for 60 minutes.
That's crazy that he has to explain defend
at me.
himself. He's
I'm
like, I
using-
have been in an interview this whole time.
I'm me, so you can hear me saying it right now.
That is a crazy.
I know this isn't what's happening, but how fun it'd be so like insane if the interviewer was like trying to catch him on it. He's like, "Go ahead, say something." Oh, all right. Okay.
Well, you've got me there.
You win this round.
You've got me there.
God, that's so sad. Dude. There's so many things to lie about. Why do this is kind of like the charity one where I'm like,
Yeah.
but people will meet him.
I really,
So why say that? Doesn't make any sense.
I really wish Jordan had a podcast. No, he doesn't. I'm like really sad that he has the stigma about not having a podcast.
No, I'm upset that you'd say that I didn't have one.
Hold on, I'm feeling pressed right now. I'm feeling attacked.
Okay, first of all, he is a minor, so
Yeah.
lightly. He died today.
I have 99 mining, actually.
Have some respect for the dead.
Thank you. I had 3 cardiac arrests right now. and
cardiac
I don't want to go to jail. I'm too young. My cardiac can't be
I
arrested.
don't want to get cardiac arrested.
She never faced like criminal charges, but she was sued like in the Australian federal court. And so in 2017 they gave her basically a fine of $410,000 and they still have not collected that from her.
About
Also,
the
that doesn't seem like very much, right?
about the charity thing? Which fraud?
I don't exactly know. I think it's like
It's so many.
partially because of the charity thing and also because like she was lying in her like cookbook that she was selling about having like cured her cancer with these things.
Yeah, that's actually wild.
That's
which
funny,
I think
'cause
is like
that
a
would
form
mean
of
like
fraud.
under those laws, that would mean that OJ would be in kind of legal trouble by writing
Yeah.
a story as though he did do it.
Because I was like, so was that her now? Oh, okay.
Whoa,
all right.
So
cool.
this is the
Badass.
part of the 60 Minutes thing that recently came out a couple weeks ago about like what she's up to now.
Cancer con woman Belle Gibson has been gambling, trading on the stock market and online shopping.
Gibson's bank statements show she has the money to trade in
That's huge.
cryptocurrency.
She keeps popping up here and there,
Oh.
and the media leap on it at every turn.
She shows up at one point as part of the Ethiopian community, which was a great surprise. Huge transformation.
I became deeply invested in the community because I saw the character and the values of your people.
In a way, she's still getting, as warped as it might be, an adulation that she seemed to seek. And she seemed to seek it in the most outrageous ways.
Tara Brown W. Love
I'm
Tara Brown.
so confused.
Right. So this
She
this
almost
is where I
feels
got
overwritten.
super
Oh, okay. This is where Jacob locked in.
Jacob puts his fedora on, pushes his
Because
glasses
like,
up.
what do you mean she got super invested in the Ethiopian?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. This is Jump the Shark, and this is a real person.
I mean, my geopolitics isn't strong enough to know, but I'm sure it is like,
I have
a place that is being.
Some information about that. So in 2020, the day after the first raid on her home to recover assets to pay her fine, her debt.
Yeah.
A video of her wearing the headscarf, speaking partially the Oromo language, discussing the political situation in Ethiopia surfaced. She professed to have been adopted by the Ethiopian community in Melbourne by volunteering for 4 years, calling her adoption in the community a gift from Allah.
Respect.
The head of that community thought that she was someone's girlfriend in the group, but then the reporters told him about her past, and then he asked her to leave the group.
Oh my god.
Are you guys interested in watching the trailer for Apple Cider Vinegar, the Netflix show?
Yeah. Okay. So Netflix. If there's a story to be told, Netflix will option.
Dude, their first instinct.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, they watch like Good Morning America, and they're like, we have this video of a dog skateboarding. Like, should we maybe make a movie, like a thriller
hold on.
about that?
There's nothing in the rules that says a dog can't skateboard. By the way, worst PR for Apple Cider Vinegar.
Oh, dude,
in decades.
Unlucky, boys. But they've had a good few years.
All right, let's watch this trailer, and then we'll catch you on Sad Boyz Nightz, where we're going to fucking blow the lid off of this new controversy. Guys, I don't have anything. I don't know what we're talking about.
That's a pure speculation on our part.
Yeah, I have
Jacob
no clue.
knows absolutely everything we know, and we don't know anything.
Cake Wars?
Oh, Cake Wars.
That's such a
I don't
huge
even
pivot.
remember what... We have meetings about this, I swear. I should know what this is. But here's a clip of us talking about Cake Wars.
I feel like these Walmart cakes are getting so out of hand. The fact that you can purchase a vintage heart cake for $5 to $25 is insane, considering sometimes ingredients alone cost $25 to $35.
I think this is kind of what happens when like class consciousness and criticism of capitalism at a base level, which should exist, gets kind of like disseminated amongst people that don't really understand why it's bad.
It's weird because I empathize with big market coming into our small market and pricing everyone out. This happens constantly, right? Like,
it's by design. It's not like oops, did we price it too low? Sorry.
Let's jump into this Netflix because I just got recommended Apple Cider Vinegar because they're like, you like crazy shit,
Should
right?
I watch this damn show?
It must have affected her that my book was reviewed as better than hers.
I'm sorry. Who's hurt?
Miller.
She was diagnosed with cancer.
So she's consistently maintained. I have no reason to doubt her.
Because in her case, it's true.
I kind of want to learn more about Belle. I want to watch some video essays about Belle Gibson after this.
Dude, shout outs to Australian Liars. They have given us 2 separate episodes.
Oh yeah,
now.
that other one was on, was that on Main or on Nights?
I think it was on Main. Actually,
I think it was
Nights.
Nights. Because, you know what? It was on afternoons.
It was the watch along.
Yeah, so we did a watch along where a lot of it's commentary, and we didn't watch the full video because we didn't want to, take someone's video. But there's a lot of our commentary on a AM Glimpse video about a Australian scammer, who lies about their identity a bunch. So we're in deep with Australian scammers. That is on the higher tier of our Patreon, and we don't usually advertise that because we're not trying to force your hand or anything. But it is there if you're interested. But
even for the lower tiers, no pressure. Do whatever you fancy.
No pressure, no stress, just reps in the content game. Because we're at the content gym right now, and I'm the manager of that gym.
Oh, you
and
don't
I say,
work out?
get back to work, clean the machines.
To me?
Clean the machines after you use them.
Oh, wait, I don't. Okay, so I am attending the gym then.
Attend the gym.
You're the manager that yells at the clientele whenever they don't.
Get out of my gym, but get back in my gym.
Oh, all right, I'm coming. That's exercise.
Clean the machines.
I don't go to this gym.
Get back in here. I'll give you a free trial. As
thanks.
long as you clean the machines. The content machines, because that's what we're on. We're a content farm. No, that's bad. We're a content factory. That's
We're a
also
sweat
bad.
shop, but no, that can be good.
We're not that. We just make content, artisan style. We're like a homegrown, family-owned
Apple cider vinegar
style content co-op.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's like a community garden.
Yeah, it's like a community garden of content. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can all say the N-word.
No. Only
tried to get
if
me-
as a gift. Only if it's a gift.
Once a day, Jordan tries to get me with that.
Oh, not every day.
Every day, Jordan just goes, go ahead.
Fire away.
Just kidding. Got your ass.
Great work today. Fire away.
All right, everybody. We end every episode of Sad Boys. Oh, that's on patreon.com/sadboys. No pressure. But we end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase.
Whoa, we love you.
And we're sorry. Why did I do it like that?
Boom.
I'm gonna think a lot about what I just did.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it. Girl, too rich for me.